morning, good afternoon. I believe we are close to 11 o'clock a.m. here on the East Coast. And so today, welcome to the blue moon month of May with 2 full moons. One in Scorpio starting today called the Scorpio flower full moon. And it becomes exact at 1:23 p.m. Eastern. I don't think that's a mistake, 1:23 p.m., because this full moon wants us to focus on the basics of our life. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac after Libra and before Sag. So this Scorpio full moon is powerful. It's not going to look as big as the other full moons, but it's going to be super powerful because it is ruled by Mars and Pluto, which is the home where Scorpio hosts them. And Mars is in its full power in Aries, nearing the end degrees of Aries, which is the anaretic degrees, beginning at 28. Mars is very close there, preparing to move out. And what else is still there? Neptune, Saturn, all in Aries, supporting Mars, being ruled by Mars right now in his home sign. And this full moon, Mars also rules over the watery, fixed sign of Scorpio. So, since it is a fixed water sign, it holds on to memories and emotional memories, especially longer, millenniums, longer than any other sign. So if you have Scorpio in here, you are a karmic being. If you have Scorpio at all in your chart, you are here with a karmic intention to change your karma in some way. And Scorpio is my Mars. My actions are up for debate here, and I have been working on my actions. So what is this full moon about? That's going to be exact at 1:23 p.m. Eastern time, which means it's 1:23 p.m. Thailand time. Thailand is exactly 12 hours ahead. So they are already into May 2nd at 1:23 a.m. when the full moon in Scorpio will be affecting Thailand and all of Southeast Asia that's in that time zone. Well, Scorpio rules our subconscious. What is our subconscious? And these are the hidden sectors that Scorpio rules over. And also about power, because this is the only sign that Pluto rules over. So Scorpio has innate emotional power. Super powerful here. How they use it is to be seen, depending on where they're born. In terms of when things go wrong, it can really become obsessive because Scorpio holds on to that hurt, that pain that was inflicted on them or that they inflicted on others. And they really try to justify or look for reasons and why did it happen, all these things, but it always comes back to one thing, is that in this lifetime your karma is exact and swift and quick. And I've learned that from my car accident, behaving not very spiritually when I was a teenager, because my life was in chaos. I'm in a country where I don't belong, and even now you see how bad it is for us brown people that are naturalized or born here or came here with visas that needed help from their government. And you can see how hard it is for some of these people in America to understand that they once also had parents that were the murderers of the first Native Americans that lived here. And so that's what Scorpio is going to bring up today, is that stuff that we no longer want to look at and acknowledge, and the things we've done to other people that we push away and tell ourselves, well, I wasn't my fault. It was their fault. I did what my mom and dad told me to do. It's their fault, you know? And that's what the baby child healing has been about. Healing your inner child. And it's been a 20-year process for the people that are in the know and wanting to do it for themselves, especially the astrologers. They all have been healing themselves and trying to help others heal. And as an astrologist, I've been listening to them and healing myself and then trying to help heal others, like today. And it's also May 1st, which is also Beltane, Beltane, and it is a Western European holiday where it is in between the equinoxes, the spring and winter, the spring and fall equinoxes, right? When the earth starts to shift back and forth because of the changing of the seasons. So right now we're in spring, but people down under are in fall, right? So when we go to summer, the people down under will be in winter. So needless to say, with 2 full moons and then a new Taurus moon on the 16th, it is an active May. And the Gemini Venus today is sextiling Saturn in Aries. So here, with Venus and Saturn having a nice meeting from Gemini to Aries, we're basically saying here, the cosmic energy is basically saying is that if you are disciplined in your actions for what it is you value for your long-term goals, Saturn here can help you with those long-term goals, especially with Venus in Gemini, having a non-emotional need for something that it wants in long-term goals, right? So this is a good day to really, go for those long-term goals. Don't hesitate. Don't doubt yourself. Don't think that, whatever you're saying is not going to be heard. And there's nothing you can do. You already given of yourself. And that's what it's about, is giving of yourself, right? This is during the time when we're learning what it is that makes us happy, Venus and Gemini, and what it is that we need to do to get that going, and that's Saturn and Aries. So Aries is still hosting that stellium of Neptune, Saturn, and Mercury still there, and Mars, right? Tomorrow, Mercury is going to shift into Taurus, so everything that's been going fast, Mercury in Aries is going to slow down. We won't be so fired up to say things and think things and share knowledge in such a way. We're going to slow down with that. And so we'll be thinking more before we share, because Taurus is a person that likes to take it easy and slow. They represent the part of us that the second house, where we need to think about how to make money for ourselves and how to help our family, and that's the second house. So then on Sunday, the Sagittarius Moon is going to trine Saturn in Aries, right? So the Sagittarius Moon comes right in after the new moon, which is going to be the full moon at the end of the month. So right here, we're getting a message. We're getting a chance where this moon is going to trine Aries and Saturn. And so it's giving us a chance this month in particular to focus on those long-term plans that we really want to get going in Aries, right? So we're going to have a whole month before the Sagittarius full moon comes in on the 31st. So here, as soon as May begins, we get a push right away from Scorpio, Mars, and Pluto. And then again, boom, 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 right? So by the Monday, you're going to have to really have a grasp on what it is you're thinking about. If you're sitting there thinking about it, you're going to have a grasp on what it's going to be at the end of this month. How's it going to reward you by working so hard on all these things you're doing, right? So by the 4th of May, Aries, Mars squares Cancer and Jupiter. So here's where we have passionate ideas and thoughts. And so we don't want to push too hard here at other people, because Jupiter's going to make us extra excited here. And so we don't want to push too hard on people and make them be like, oh my God, slow down. Then the rest of the month, I just want you to understand that on the 18th of May, Venus will be entering Cancer to join Jupiter there for a couple months before Jupiter moves out. So Venus will be there for almost the whole time that Jupiter is left in Cancer. And then on the 21st, the Sun will be entering Gemini, because we're in Taurus season. So the Sun's going to be entering Gemini on the 21st, and then the pace of the world is going to pick up again. So enjoy these 21 days during Taurus season, especially now with Mercury moving into Taurus. Enjoy this Mercury time in Taurus where everything's going to slow down a bit. But also Pluto, who's having a nice meeting all this time with Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, and Jupiter, that Pluto being involved in this full moon, which is Scorpio, Pluto rules over. Pluto is right now being ruled by Uranus, because Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and Uranus now shifting into Gemini last week really makes Pluto's message from Aquarius very, very powerful as the last sign of the zodiac. So Pluto right here is being programmed by Uranus to really think out of the box, especially in Gemini, the high octave here in a Mercury ruled sign. And there's a lot of things going on that you can see how the red thread connects us all together, how we're all the same but different in our own way. And this full moon is really the peak time of Pluto's energy before it goes to sleep and retrogrades on the 9th of May and stays retrograde all the way until October. So whatever Pluto's showing you now in this full moon in Scorpio, pay extra attention on what comes up for you intuitively. Something could be back in your brain tickling it, and you're going, what is that? What's that? And this has been happening to me for the past couple of weeks. So I had to sit there and meditate on it. What, who, what, why, what keeps popping in my head? And who is it? And what is it I'm supposed to be thinking about? Because I'm always thinking about my own family, but you know, when you can sit and rest, sometimes your brain will wander, like you're a human, you know, your brain will wander and you'll be like, okay, what is going on? And then you can't sleep and you can't quite figure out what is this message coming in for your from your subconscious, not your unconscious. Your conscious is what helps you to breathe and walk, so you don't have to think about it all the time when you want to walk and breathe. You're not like, breathe, walk, right? So that's your unconscious. That's where you go when you go to sleep, all right? When you're dreaming in your unconscious world and you're doing things, traveling around the world in your unconscious world, right? But there's the subconscious as well, where we hide things away we don't want to face, or we hide things away that we're like, okay, I did that, I don't want to think about what I have to do to heal or mend that. And, you know, especially when you're young, you don't think long term. When you're young, you're thinking, well, I'll be lucky if I live this long to even do that, right? The full moon is really powerful, and opposite of Scorpio is the Sun in Taurus, and it's at 11 degrees of Taurus. So the Sun at 11 degrees and the Moon at 11 degrees, this is a second decan of where the Moon is. So the Moon's in the second decan of Scorpio, right? So the water signs begin with Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So if it's in the second decan, which means Scorpio, Cancer, Scorpio, Scorpio, and Scorpio, Pisces. So it's Scorpio, Scorpio, and look at the finger it's on, right? So that's a Scorpio thing too, by the way, this finger, right? So this is beyond powerful. This should have been affecting you this whole week. So like I said, it really kicked in this week. My my unconsciousness, my subconscious, my everything kicked in this week. And so I've really been going through it. Like yesterday I went and garden, which I talked about on my daily on Patreon. If you haven't caught up with me on Patreon, go check that out. And I'm getting ready to get that Patreon streaming onto my Spotify and Apple and all that stuff too pretty soon. I'm working on it. I've just been so busy and I haven't been thinking about it as much. So I know for me it's my Mars card, so it's my action. But it's not at that degree of Scorpio. My Mars is not there. My Mars is at 18 degrees of Scorpio, so it's pretty close to there, right? But my Saturn's at 11 degrees of Aries. So my Saturn return is getting ready to come up pretty soon, and I've been working hard all these years after my first Saturn return to really be better and do better, so when I get here I'm healthy and all these things. So that's what I'm working on still. And all of us at this age are getting near 60. People that are around 60 are all going through their Saturn return, wherever it is. My best advice for this week is to enjoy the Mercury moving into Taurus and take your time with your movements, your thoughts, your communication. Because you had your chance with Mercury and Aries to get a lot of stuff out, to plant a lot of seeds that you might want to happen someday, sometime in the future. You had that seed, right? So you planted it and planted it. And now your seed is in the earth where Mercury's going into Taurus. Now your seed's in there, and your seed's got the full moon going on. So it means that the seed is acknowledged, but seeds take time to grow. So hopefully by the end of this month, the seed comes out a little bit when we get to Sagittarius full moon, which is a blue moon. So May has the Scorpio full flower moon, and then May 31st has the full Sagittarius blue moon. So this month of May is jam-packed. It is the number 5. 5 is the number of change. We are dealing with a situation here where that karmic energy is affecting all of us. We all have a part to play by ignoring these people for years and saying, oh, you know, they don't know what they're talking about. I grew up with it, so I've known forever these people existed. And I could tell by getting to know people later on in my life if they were raised that way, if they had a little section of that in them, if they had a little bit of white supremacy in them. You could see in real time when they're standing up and clapping for Prince Charles, or King Charles now, the third, that they are just sycophants. They are just sycophants. They are into ass kissing. They're into whoever's popular at the time. They're going to ride on their coattails. They're into lobbyists giving them money and then quitting that job and going to work for that lobbyist and making $2 million a year. So understand that there's no spirituality in the world, truly. Religion is not spirituality. Religion is a man-made situation to give you delusion and get money from you. We are trying to release the Leo coming up as the nodes begin to shift out. The nodes are now at 5 degrees Pisces and 5 degrees of Virgo. So every time the sun or anything enters those signs, they're touching the node as it prepares to leave. You have to release things in order to have a great next couple years, next 20 years. This is a long-term plan spiritually to get that spirituality intact, to understand who you are in this world and how much power you actually have. You have a lot of power to change what you want to change, but it has to be done in a spiritual way. It can't hurt other people. Is a president. He is merely here to remind us of the true people that started this country and what they were actually about. They weren't actually saying what they wanted to do. They were pretending. Because don't forget, they all had slaves. They all had slave children They all sold their slave children. Think about that. And the king and queens of the world, whatever they are, they're not our problem in America. Our problem in America is greed. Lack of a soul. And I've been telling my kids since I went to Thailand and came back on my own, which I'm sure, if you've been here a while, you've heard this story. So money is the root of all evil. Taxes. Here we are. And now they're fighting for their lives because their karma's here. What they've done to the world is not okay. And not all of us would be swept away by this. Not all of us would be caught up in this. Most of us, we will be fine. Our kids will be fine. Because we didn't do anything wrong. I didn't put my head in the ground. My whole family knew about these people. We all knew. We lived amongst them. Are they going to admit that they're MAGA? No. Are they going to admit they're prejudiced? No. As if people with different color means they're worse than you are because they have a different color than you. And your parents really involved in that too, perpetuating that delusion to you guys. It's sad. You know, and now Spain is thinking about shutting down tourism there because Spain feels like it's just a big hotel. People come in, it's a transient type of situation. Scorpio full moon is happening in an hour from here. It's right now, it's 12:17 here. So I'm feeling the energy. I'm going to say what I got to say as a Scorpio Mars person because I know that Scorpio doesn't like things halfway. You're either all in or you're not. I understand. It's hard to look yourself in the mirror and see the truth. Believe me, I look in the mirror every day and I go, wow. But now I look in the mirror and I go, wow, you finally love yourself and understand yourself. And it's through your children you learn to love yourself. And it's the truth. And I'm going to cry right now. So I'm going to leave before I cry when I start thinking about my kids. So I love you guys, especially my babies and my spiritual children. I know some of you are having a hard time connecting. And some of you are very adamant about connecting. And I love that. I have more time next week. And I will talk to some of you then. And just send me a quick note when you think you'll be free next week, okay? I think I'll be free next week on Thursday. That's what I'm thinking. All right, so talk to you guys next week. And happy full flower moon. Love yourself so you can bloom. Okay, flowers don't last long for a reason. Because the beauty of a flower is so pure that it can't last. Purity can't last. It can come back every year, but it can't last. You have to see the truth behind what happens to really acknowledge the purity of things that are fleeting. All right. It's a very emotional day. Love you guys. See you next week.